Hi everyone. Today let's do the financial statements with adjustment question from the past paper 2021. 2021. This is the question number 7 and part 3. So for this question you are getting 8 marks. So let's read the requirement, the statement of profit or loss, income statement, and the statement of financial position, the balance sheet for this particular business. So first, as I told you, what you have to do is read the requirement. Ensure whether they are asking the statement of profit or loss and statement of financial position. If that's the case, normally what I suggest for the students, go through the additional information and do whatever the pencil adjustments in the trial balance itself. So let's take the first one. Here I have given the remaining cost of the stock as at 31st December 2021 20,000. So this particular amount will go to two places. Always make sure to write it. Once you get a question, circle that amount and put two arrows and write down one amount will go to the statement of profit or loss under the cost of sales. Under the cost of sales, you have to write it, and this amount will go to the statement of financial position also under the current asset. So this particular 20,000 should be recorded in two places. So if you record in these two places properly, for this one half a mark, for this one half a mark, you will get the complete 1 mark which is relevant for that. And whatever the connected marks also you will get accordingly. And the second adjustment, accrued built-in rent is rupees 2000. Accrued built-in rent which is not yet paid. So if the built-in rent is not yet paid, what should be the double entry? Ideally, I'll write it here. Accrued built-in rent, debit the built-in rent expense, debit the built-in rent expense, and credit accrued built-in rent. Accrued built-in rent means what? It is a liability. Accrued or built-in rent which is not yet paid. Built-in rent payable, because that 2000 you have not yet paid. If you have not yet paid, you have to pay it. So you have a liability, you have an obligation. So that 2000 is an obligation for you, a liability for you. So liability increases, it's a credit record. So now what we have to do, we'll go and write these amounts in the trial balance. So these are pencil adjustments. You are not required to write these double entries. I just wrote it for you to get an understanding. Okay. So you see whether you have a built-in rent, whatever the account balance. Yes, here you have a built-in rent. The expense amount is there. So we have to debit 2000. So here I will come and add debit. No, this is the debit column. I'll add a 2000 over here. Then remaining 2000 is credit. Double entry. No, each transaction should have a two entries. Credit accrued built-in rent. If not built-in rent, payable. Accrued built-in rent you don't have, so you can add that line to the trial balance. So I'll write whatever the new lines that I'm adding to the trial balance over here. Accrued built-in rent. Accrued built-in rent which is not yet paid, a liability. So it will come to the credit side, which is 2000. So we are done with that one. Next one. Motor vehicles should be depreciated 20% per annum on straight line basis. So what is the value of the motor vehicle? Let's check that one. Okay, motor vehicles, you have a value of 600,000. We have to depreciate it 20%. So 600,000 20%. I'll do it here. 600,000 20%. You are getting a value of 120,000. If not, 600,000 into 20%, like this. Here 120,000. Then what is the double entry for the depreciation? Debit motor vehicle depreciation. Motor vehicle depreciation expense 120,000 credit. Credit accumulated motor vehicle depreciation. So let's go and add that amount. Do we have motor vehicle depreciation? Here they have not given it, so we'll add that one. Motor vehicle depreciation expense, debit 120,000, and you have accumulated motor vehicle depreciation, credit 120,000. So here you have a debit, here you have a credit. For the previous one also same. Here you have a debit, here you have a credit. Okay. So here what I am doing, I am extending the same trial balance. Now we are done with this adjustment also. Even they have given only 3 adjustments, inside the trial balance also normally you will have an adjustment. Do remember that. Don't forget. In the previous question also that I did, same adjustment was there. So if you have not watched that particular question, which is 2022 past paper question, please make sure to watch that video once you are done with this. So this is 2021. I have done it for 2022 also. Make sure to check that one. So here you check whether you have any bank loans. Okay. Here you have bank loan. 10% bank loan. Okay. For 100,000, you have to pay interest 10%. 100,000, you have to pay interest 10%. So here you have an interest of 10,000. Interest expense for bank loan. For bank loan, you check whether this amount is there or not in the trial balance. You check. Nothing is there with regard in the bank loan interest. Look at this. Nothing is there with regard in the bank loan interest. This is bank charges. Bank loan interest, nothing is there. So you have to write the double entry. What's the double entry? Debit bank loan interest expense, which is 10,000. Credit, this interest is not yet paid. So it is accrued interest expense. Interest payable. Bank loan interest payable. If not, accrued bank loan interest, whatever. 10,000. So let's write that one also in our trial balance. In our trial balance, we'll write that one also. Bank loan interest expense, debit 10,000, then accrued bank loan interest, which is not yet paid, accrued, not yet paid, payable, interest payable. So it's a liability, credit 10,000. So here you have debit and credit. Now we are done with all the adjustments. So again I am telling, remember, even they have given only 3 extra adjustments, inside your trial balance sometimes you can have an adjustment with regarding the bank loan. Do remember that. Now it's very simple. You have to prepare the income statement and the balance sheet. So I'll do it over here. I'll erase all these things and we'll start preparing the income statement and the balance sheet. Whose business is this? It's Nirmala's business. Nirmala's business. Nirmala's business. First we have to prepare the statement of profit or loss for the year ended 31st December 2021. Statement of profit or loss for the year ended so rupees. So let me write the classification also, each and every item. So we'll prepare the income statement. So this is something coming for the income statement. Your main sales, This will come under the cost of sales. Purchases, land and building, non-current asset. Motor vehicles, non-current asset. And you have the debtors, current asset. Creditors, current liability. Building rent, admin expense. Discount received, it is other income. Discount given or discount allowed, distribution expense. Salesperson salary, yeah, salesperson salary, distribution expense. Other staff salary, admin expense. Only salesperson salary will come to the distribution. Sales and marketing people salary. Bank charges, finance expense. Electricity charges, admin expense. Bank loan, non-current liability. Capital, equity. Carriage inwards, part of cost of sales. Stock, opening stock, part of cost of sales. Cash, current asset. And apart from that, we added another few lines. Accrued building rent which is not yet paid, current liability. Motor vehicle depreciation expense, motor vehicle depreciation, not machine depreciation, furniture depreciation. Machine depreciation, furniture depreciation, admin expense. This is motor vehicle depreciation, so it is distribution expense. Distribution expense. Accumulated motor vehicle depreciation, it is a reduction of non-current assets. Then bank loan interest expense, this is a finance expense. Accrued bank loan interest, which is not yet paid. Bank loan interest which is not yet paid. Bank loan interest payable, it is a current liability. So now we can put down the values one by one. Now it's a simple game, so you can see we did everything in the trial balance. We did all the adjustments in the trial balance, classification in the trial balance, everything we did in the trial balance. Now we have to write the figures. That's it, very simple. So let me start with the sales. How much is the sales that they have? It is 800,000. Sales 800,000. Then from the sales you have to deduct the cost of sales. For the cost of sales you have to take the opening inventory plus purchases. In this question you have some carriage inwards, then minus the closing inventory. So we'll write these values first. Opening inventory 15,000. Opening inventory 15,000. Then purchases 375,000. 375,000. Then the carriage inwards 10,000. Carriage inwards 10,000. So addition of these three, we are getting a value of 25,400,000. So this is the value or the cost of the inventory available to sell. From this you have to minus the closing inventory, if not the closing stock. How much is the closing stock? So this part is done now. 20,000. 20,000. Then how much is the cost of sales value that we are getting? 380,000. 380,000. So let me calculate the gross profits then. Gross profits are 420,000. This is the gross profits. Gross profits are 420,000. Now you have to take the other income. In this question we have one other income, which is the discount received. Discount received. How much is that discount received? Other income 5,000. Discount received 5,000. Then here the total value is how much? 425,000. 425,000. Now let's take the expenses. Let's take the expenses. Here you have the distribution expense. Distribution expenses. So let's see one by one what are the distribution expenses that you have. Discount allowed 2,000, salesperson salary 8,000. Discount allowed 2,000, salesperson salary 8,000. Done. Then what else distribution that we have? Let's see any other distribution expenses here. Yes, we have another one, motor vehicle depreciation 120,000. Motor vehicle depreciation 120,000. Then here you are getting a total value of how much? 130,000. Total value of 130,000. Then let's take the admin expenses. Admin expenses. So what are the admin expenses that we have? Let's check one by one. Building rent, you have to take the total value 20,000. Building rent 20,000. Building rent 20,000. And the next one, admin expense, electricity 2,500. Electricity 2,500. 2,500. What else is there? Admin expense. That's it. Here let's say no. Next we have to move to the finance and other expense. Finance and other expense. Other expense. So what are the expenses that you have? Finance and other expense. Here you have bank charges 1,500. Bank charges 1,500. So here let me take the total 22,500. 22,500. Bank charges 1,500. And what else that you have? Finance expense. Here nothing. Here you have bank loan interest expense 10,000. Bank loan interest expense 10,000. So here we are getting a value of 11,500. So let me check whether we took all the values. Let me check. Here 500,000. Okay, debtors. This amount is also done. Here okay, done. Okay, here everything is done. Here also current distribution expense we took, everything is done. Now we can finish the income statement. Here what's the total expenses that you are getting? 130,000. Here 22,500 plus 11,500. Then here 33,000, 34,000. 164,000. 164,000 is the expense. 33 plus 500, 500, 34. 34, 130, 164. So 425 minus 164, 0 0 0, here it is 1, then 12, 6, 3, 2, 261,000. This is the net profit for the period. Net profit for the period. Now let's move to the balance sheet. Nirmala's business statement of financial position as at 31st December 2021. As at 31st December 2021. So let's get these values. Rupees. First you have to start with the non-current assets. So here you have the cost, and here you have the accumulated depreciation. Here you have the net book value or net carrying value, whatever. You can write anything. So let's go to the trial balance. Here we have non-current asset, land and building, 500,000. Land and building, 500,000. No accumulated depreciation for that, so here it is 500,000. Then you have motor vehicles, 600,000. Motor vehicle, 600,000. Ideally from the motor vehicle the depreciation should get reduced, no? So that depreciation is there in the below. Accumulated depreciation, reduction of the non-current assets. That's what I told. Reduction of the non-current asset, accumulated motor vehicle depreciation 120,000. Reduction 120,000. Then here you are getting a value of 480,000. Then here 1.1 million, 120,000, here 980,000. Then you can move to the current assets. Current assets, what are the things that you have? Let's start with this one. Closing stock, 20,000. Statement of financial position. Closing stock, 20,000. Closing stock, 20,000. Then debtors, 9,000. Debtors, 9,000. Then what else? Current assets that we have. Cash balance, 3,000. Cash, 3,000. Then here total current assets that we are getting, 32,000. 32,000. Then here 0 0 0 2 1 1 0 1 2. So this is the total assets. Now let's take the equity. Under equity you have to take the opening capital plus additional capital plus net profits minus drawings is the closing capital. Okay, so opening capital, how much is there in this question? Capital It is 624,000. 624,000. In this question, we didn't have any additional capital. Net profits we had. We calculated the net profits 261,000. Net profits 261,000. No drawings in this question. Then what is the closing capital that we are getting? 000, 5, here 8, here 8. 885,000. That is the closing capital. Then we have to take the non-current liabilities. Non-current liabilities. Here non-current liabilities, we have the non-current liability, we had a bank loan here, yes, 100,000. Bank loan 100,000. Now let me take the final part of the question, current liabilities. Current liabilities. Under the current liabilities, we have the creditors 15,000. Creditors 15,000. Current liabilities, here we had something, yes. Accrued building rent 2,000. Accrued loan interest 10,000. Accrued building rent payable, if not 2,000. Accrued bank loan, accrued building rent, accrued bank loan interest, if not bank loan interest payable, building rent payable, you can use both the names, 10,000. Then here 27,000. Total current liability 27,000. Then here total equity and liability, how much is that? 0, 0, 0, 12, 2 here, 1 is there, here 10, 1, then here 10, then 1,012,000. 1,012,000. 1,012,000. That means your accounts are getting balanced. 1,012,000. 1,012,000. Done. Now you can put down the marks. For this one, take a half a mark. For this one, take a half a mark. Okay. For the closing inventory, take another half a mark. Then 1 marks. Here building rent, take a half a mark, 1.5. Then here for the bank loan interest, half a mark, 2 marks. For the net profit, half a mark, 2.5 marks. Net profit, half a mark, 2.5 marks. And for the vehicle depreciation, half a mark, 3 marks. And for the cost of sales, take a half a mark, 3.5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And you take another half a mark for gross profits. Then 4 marks in total. Now let's move to the balance sheet. Balance sheet, for this one, take half a mark. And for this format, cost minus accumulated depreciation is net book value or net carrying value, half a mark. There it is, 1 mark. Here for the net book value of the motor vehicles, half a mark, 1.5. Total non-current assets, half a mark, 2 marks. Here for the closing stock, half a mark, then 2.5. Here for the net profit, half a mark, 3 marks. For this one, accrued building rent, half a mark, 3.5. Accrued loan interest, half a mark, 4 marks. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that is how you are getting 4 marks for the balance sheet, 4 marks for the income statement, and 4 marks for the balance sheet. So your values are balancing for 1,012,000. So this is the answer for the 2021 financial statements with adjustment question. So not that difficult. Simply what I did was I read the requirement first. I ensure whether the statement of profit or loss and statement of financial positions are the requirements. Then I went to the additional information, did all the adjustments in the trial balance, and did the classification. After doing the classification, I prepared the income statement and the balance sheet. So why I followed all these steps? For you to get an understanding. So in your exam, it's all about the time. You have to play with the time. So you can't do all these things. First few questions that you are practicing, practice in this manner. Then once you get the way of doing the question, you can quickly put down the format at the beginning. From there onwards, you can put the values for relevant places and you can do the necessary adjustments accordingly. Until you get the learning, try the method that I follow. This is not only the past paper question that I have done for the financial statements. You will get a small playlist over here, somewhere over here. If you click that, you can see all other past paper questions that I have discussed. And if you like this video, please make sure to like the video, hit that like button and share with your friends as well. They also will get benefited.